Okay, thank you very much. This is it, the Truth Breakfast Show. We're going to start our first segment. Well, if you've been with us since yesterday, we had Isaac Jackson here, and he gave a lot of information concerning the formation of the Friends of Bronxkin that later generated into the Liberty Party. Issues were raised that deserve a reaction. Ethically, we are committed to giving the other side the opportunity to respond. Obviously, we expected Mr. Isaac Jackson and, of course, the Secretary General of the Liberty Party to sit on the platform and then have an engagement, but that opportunity has been declined by Mr. Jacob Smith. So today, however, the Liberty Party has its Assistant Secretary General Toomay here, and that is to go through the points raised by Mr. Jackson and then give the position of the party. Mr. Toomay, good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning, Mamadi, and may I say thank you all so much for having afforded us the opportunity to be here this morning. I think it is a manifestation of the desire to uphold the ABC of journalism, and we are glad to have this opportunity.
Okay. However, this is an opportunity for you to respond to the issues and the points raised by Isaac Jackson. So it will not be go through and come back, you know. I'll give you the opportunity. But I want you to start with this description Mr. Jackson gave when it comes to you.
Good friend, look, I'm talking about the founding members of the party. These are far by all the names that go here. You see one Toomay there. You know what we're talking about. We're talking seriously. We're talking Toomay. We're talking about the foundation of the Liberty Party. Just call Toomay. You're serious person, eh? Okay. When you keep a serious conversation, you don't dilute the conversation with you kind of thing, man. I'm talking seriously. I want Jacob Smith to call and say this is not true, and that will put Lamy on the phone for Lamy to say that they're not true. That's the people I want you to call.
You see, because
call some of the people who
he's a member.
You got Toomay, man. We're talking seriously. Is it Toomay?
You see,
don't dilute you. I'm talking serious business here.
No, he asked to participate.
Yeah,
I asked him to call.
No, some of the people you want to call Romeo Batty. Let Romeo Batty disagree. Let Batty talk about disagree. Let Jerome Walker disagree. Let Hilton Poho disagree. Let Eba say. Let maybe P. Emmanuel Monye. Let Arona Fala disagree with me. Let Solomon Bo disagree with me. Let Steve Sensi say what disagree with me. But you got the fly band, young comrade that we came. When Liberty Party, and he doesn't even know the history where Liberty can come from. We gotta be serious.
Okay.
So you say, you know.
Thank you all.
Liberty Party.
Thank you all so much, Mamadi.
Do you know Isaac?
Very well.
Personally, and within the Liberty Party.
Certainly.
Okay.
That's the.
So at least we will know who we're talking to now.
I know.
Somebody who know the history of the Liberty Party.
Certainly. I follow the illiberal, incongruous, and women flawed presentation of Mr. Jackson yesterday, and that is not a strange situation when it comes to the character of Isaac Jackson. When we are discussing serious national issues, people like Isaac Jackson should go to the basement, because all he knows is to rain invectives on people who are stakeholders in our politics. Now, to begin with, I joined the Liberty Party in 2005. And when I entered the Liberty Party, I served at the district level of the party. From the district level, I moved to the secretariat, where I worked directly with the Secretary General for more than 4 years. After that, I went to a national convention, where I came out as National Vice Chairperson for Administration for the U-Wing of the Liberty Party. When the chairperson at the time left the U-Wing and took to the position of ASG for President Propaganda that I'm occupying today, by excellency clause, I became the National U-Wing Chairperson of the Liberty Party. From that position, I am where I am today. So for us, the party is 9 years old, going to 10 years, and my membership with the party is equal to 9 years, going to 10 years. So for Isaac Jackson to have termed me a flower by that person, you can see how childish that statement is.
You mean you joined the party 9 years ago?
Of course, of course.
It's about 10 years ago.
The party
is 10 years old now.
Yes, my membership with the party is still
so relatively different beginning.
From the very beginning of the party.
Which role are you capacity?
I was at the district level. Okay, I was at the district level and a first soldier of the party. Okay, of course we have to go through the ranks and file of the party before getting to the top. Of course. Now, to go to the most substantive issues that Mr. Jackson articulated yesterday, I'm not going to go into the history of the Liberty Party, because that is something that all of the cadres in the party know, that the Liberty Party came about from the FOB, the Friends of Bronxkin. So there's no name coming to be masquerading here like one historian. Okay. I would like to begin with the reasons why Isaac Jackson has gone disgruntled and he has become a desperate opportunist.
Okay.
Now, after the 2005 elections, the Liberty Party needed to continue smoothly and make progress, given that we wanted to sustain our legacy, the gains we had made at the time, and take our morale to to all successive elections. Okay, at that point, there was a need to restructure the party and bring people on board with a new ideology, a new vigor, and people who had the capacity, both resource-wise and otherwise, to take the party forward. And there was a decision that people, the party at the time was made up of young enthusiasts who had zeal to work, but they did not have the capacity, and most of them did not have jobs to sustain themselves. I mean, it is no dispute that most of them were being taken care of in the party of Councillor Bronski. And so people were brought on board, but the decision for that transition to have taken place was not a Charles Walker Bronski decision. That decision came from a National Executive Council meeting that was held at the party's headquarters. Now, after that decision was taken, there were some partisans who saw wisdom in it and said, look, we'll resign our position for the sake of the party and for the party to make progress. There were a few guys who said, no, we can't resign our position because we feel that we're duly elected and there's a need for us to go on. One of such person was the Union chairperson at the time, Mr. Tobot. Another person was the Secretary General. Now, so the party said, well, if you can't resign your position, remain in the party and let's move ahead. You can stay on and work. But those who are willing to resign can resign, including the chairman at the time, Mr. Tobot. He resigned. But what was interesting to notice that those guys who stayed on, who said they couldn't resign, they began to behave deviant. Okay, imagine the Secretary General at the time, Mr. Nathaniel Toole, even though he refused to resign, he stayed on, but he left the capital city and went to resign in Maryland for more than 2 years. How can the National Secretary General of a party leave his cardinal responsibilities, go a distance, take a distance from the party, and thinking that the party can function in that manner? Well, after a series of engagement and noticing that those guys were not willing to comply and they were causing obstacles to the forward march of our party, the party decided to have a national convention and reach a decision. At the national convention, the party decided that those people who were serving as obstacles to the forward march of the party should be expelled. Not only did they stay away from the party, the guys were writing damaging releases and that was affecting the image of our party. Okay, and so at the National Executive Council, they were dismissed. For Mr. Jackson to have sat here yesterday and said it was Councillor Bronski who unilaterally dismissed or asked the people to resign, it was unfortunate. And that is again one of the attributes of the classical Acid Jackson. He's an opportunist, a desperate opportunist. And Acid Jackson sat here yesterday and said, after the 2005 elections, he opted for us to have endorsed the Unity Party. That is a blatant lie. Mr. Jackson at the time said...
Makata Ware is still a member of the party? Makata Ware? He made mention of Makata Ware.
Yeah, those are guys who were part of the FOB.
He resigned.
Yeah, those are guys who were part of the FOB who later came out the Liberty Party.
He justified he was one of those that considered...
They didn't give me the chance to lay...
I'm coming solo. Let's deal with this step by step.
Last question.
Okay. So after that, the guys started to make comments that were embarrassing the image of our party. Now, Acid Jackson talked about he was not dismissed. In fact, he's a distant member of the party. That's not true. And this is how Acid Jackson dismissal came about. Liberty Party in after the 2005 elections took serious oppositions on serious national issues. When you can recall, when the police decided to have this policy of one person sitting to the front seat of a taxi car, for example, Liberty Party endorsed that decision. Acid Jackson as a president went wild. He went deviant. He went publicly and denounced the decision and started to castigate the party. He was warned on several occasions to desist. He refused because at the time he was in desperate hunt for a job. He wanted a job from the president. Okay? He said a whole lot of things about the president. It's not a hidden secret that Acid Jackson insulted Madame Salif. He branded her a visionless leader, or unrepentant sinner, a tyrant, and XYZ. So Mr. Jackson's position today as a Deputy Minister of Information is just a curse to his integrity. That was why they gave him the job. Go on the radio, all those things you criticized yesterday, go there today and say those things are good. In fact, I mean, everything is okay. And that's what he's doing today. He's not a serious man. He's not a serious man. So Acid Jackson was duly expelled from the Liberty Party for misconduct. Now, we come down to the issue where he talked about Councillor Bronski being a tyrant. You know, it's quite laughable for Acid Jackson to come on the radio and say Councillor Bronski is a tyrant, because everyone in Liberia knows that everyone who has followed our party, our politics should understand, she can appreciate that Councillor Bronski is a man with exemplary character. He has shown he has a proven character when it comes to the running of the Labour Party. There are some positions that comes to the person taking the past that can get easily nullify the claim by Asset Jackson that he's a tyrant. One of such positions was his resignation or was to relinquish the Senate membership of our party after the 2011 elections. How many political leaders from our political landscape can muster the courage to take that decision? The endorsement he talked about in 2000, our position in 2005 to remain neutral, was not considered Bronsky's decision. That decision came from the National Executive Council of our party. I'm talking about the entire leadership of our party across the county. Okay, and Asset Jackson was one person who said we should have gone around the CDC because he had a friend or two at the time with the CDC. So Asset Jackson's position was for the Liberty Party to have endorsed the CDC. So for him to come on the radio and say, no, he said Liberty Party should have endorsed the Unity Party, it's only because he's serving as a deputy minister today. So the man is a diabolical liar. Okay, he's somebody who is shameless, and as a sycophant, it's not surprising because those are classical attributes, classical characteristics of a sycophant. You have to know how to tell lies. He talked about Liberty Party or being governed in a misguided fashion by our chairman. Councillor Fanatic Kofa is the best chairman Liberty Party have ever had. The fundamental mandate of this chairman of this current executive committee of our party was to reconcile and restructure our party before the 2017 elections. To a larger extent, we have succeeded in that. This under the chairmanship of Councillor Kofa, we have succeeded in that. Up to date, Liberty Party have decided to open arms to people who were deviant, to people who damaged the image of our party in the past. And when we made that declaration, there are a lot of people who took advantage of it and came over to the party. Every Darren Zilon is one of such persons. Today, he's a political advisor to the Liberty Party. But Asset Jackson will not come over because he feels that he has reached a point where he cannot turn back with all these damaging things he has said about Councillor Bronsky. This is somebody who talked about Asset Jackson yesterday. Okay, he talked about Bronsky did not make impact in his life. That's a blatant lie. There are a lot of guys. Why we are hearing from the other guys from the FOB who Asset Jackson said he acknowledged his argument? Why are they not calling here to say, yes, what Asset Jackson said? I spoke with a couple of them last night, more than 4 of them, and the guys are completely embarrassed by the attitude of Asset Jackson. They told me they are embarrassed. He said his problem was tied around policy issues. Did he raise any policy issue here yesterday? He did not raise any policy issue. Okay, when he was going in search for his job, that was when he became disgruntled. Asset Jackson was walking the streets of Monrovia talking all by himself. In 2005, I can recall, after the elections, okay, one of the problems he had was that after the elections, he was a political officer, Councillor Brunson did not buy a car for him, Councillor Brunson bought a car for his wife, and he was walking all in the street and stuff like that. Can you imagine? This was the same Asset Jackson who, when young people gathered at the party office at the time, going for assistance for school fees and other things, he told them, this is not a Liberty Party, is not a welfare institution, you guys different. There were several young people who had problems with Asset Jackson. I'm one of those who Asset Jackson told before to leave the party office because Liberty Party was not running a welfare institution. There's the same Asset Jackson who sat there yesterday and said, Councillor Bronsky made no impact in his life. He's an ingrate. Okay? And these kind of people should not be given credence in our society. There are a lot of people listening to Asset Jackson yesterday were asking, but is it not the same Asset Jackson who insulted Manasali yesterday? Is it not the same Asset Jackson? I will not be surprised that after the tenure of Manasali, Asset Jackson will say Manasali was a tyrant. I wouldn't be surprised because by then he will be seeking favor from the new leadership that will be in place by that time. So he will say all of the damaging things against Manasali, but he can't say it today because he's nourishing from the fountain of the very ills that he criticized yesterday. We know that this whole debate is an extension of the Grand Bassa politics. Let me tell you something. Okay. After the 2006 elections, when Liberty Party endorsed the Unity Party, and the Unity Party won the election, there was news of a possible reshuffle in government. When that news came about, Asset Jackson, I don't know how he got the news that Liberty Party had recommended to the president to dismiss him as assistant minister. He started to run around the place looking for people to go and intercede with him and the president. And one of such person he ran to was Senator Besson Garfin.
Dismiss him for what?
He said because he had gone deviant with the party, and so we didn't want to see him keep his job at the Ministry of Information. You know, every time the name Liberty Party is mentioned, he's like somebody in a state of paranoia. Okay, he's jealous. And he started to run around to people for intervention. And the protest, fortunately, fell in the hands of the protest, who I think intervened for him. But the truth is that the Liberty Party had no interest in seeing Asset Jackson being dismissed. So because of that, he has become a member of the pro-terrorist campaign team in Grand Bassa County, and he's fighting all of these proxy wars. You can recall when Senator Lawrence a couple of months ago said she will not endorse the candidacy of President Finney for a second term because, in her wisdom, he has failed miserably. Senator Finney came on the radio, he did not respond to Senator Lawrence. Instead, he went straight to Councillor Brodsky and said he will go to Councillor Brodsky because, to him, Senator Lawrence, Councillor Brodsky is Senator Lawrence's godfather. So he rather go for Councillor Brodsky. From that point onward, Asset Jackson has embarked on the campaign to slander, to maliciously slander Councillor Brodsky. That is the whole thing about it. That is the whole thing about it. So you see...
So let me get a theory now. Your theory is that Asset Jackson got information that Liberty Party was pushing for his dismissal.
That was one thing.
Because he had disagreement with the party.
Certainly.
And while that was happening, the Senate pro tem got involved to save Asset Jackson.
Certainly.
And since then, Asset Jackson has been in the Senate pro tem arena.
That is what is responsible for his latest campaign. That is what is responsible for the latest campaign.
When did that about dismissal start?
You listen. That was after the 2011 elections.
So he didn't do what he's doing now, but he didn't do it that time. He's doing it now. So he kept the battle for today.
Yeah, because it's election time.
How did he know that
you know
the Senate pro tem who have run in the first place?
Oh, it was clear that the man wanted to go for a second term. It was clear. The Senate pro tem has his campaign people in Grand Bassa County working on a daily basis. And you were wondering why he made mention of the Grand Bassa County senatorial election. He made mention of it yesterday. He made mention of it yesterday.
You responded for the last.
I haven't concluded. I haven't concluded on my response.
You want to give a little bit of time? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. And he talked about look, let me tell you. Every time the Liberty Party is geared towards making progress, we will have people at Asset Jackson come in to discredit our work. When Honorable Gertrude Lamy and Edith Gongo were joined our party 2 weeks ago, the first person to have come on the radio and condemn that arrangement was Asset Jackson. What is his interest? What is his interest? What is his interest in the Liberty Party? Okay, so every time we are making progress, this young man will be sent on the radio to come and make damaging comments. You can see that. You can see the correlation between what I'm saying about his taking about his role in the Bassa politics. You can see the correlation. But I can say to the employers of Asset Jackson, he's not going to make any impact on that campaign team because this man does not have an image in Grand Bassa County. In Grand Bassa County, his image is highly mutilated. In the 2011 elections, Asset Jackson had won the campaign for Balanced in Grand Bassa County. It was interesting to know that he called on the talk show and he didn't show his true identity. Asset Jackson called as Blood Gaga, calling from district number 2. And you know the voice doesn't have.
Okay. Let me ask these questions. Number one, in your own reading as somebody with high credential of democracy, you think it's a good thing for an executive committee to ask duly elected officers of a political party to resign under the guise that they didn't have money, they needed people with money to come in the party? I'm just trying to put that to you to test how you perceive and understand what election of officers in the political party represent.
In democracy, you do not rule out the concept of dialogue and constructive engagement. That is why every time the Liberty Party goes to its convention or primaries, we do not come out with hula baloo and noise all over the place, because we begin our process with dialogue and constructive engagement. The decision to ask the people to resign was not compelling. Okay, it was a discussion. If you can resign,
just imagine.
If you can resign, stay on.
Let's take for example, we have the Mamadi Jagide Liberty Party, Mamadi Jagide Party for sure, and we go to convention. We elected a bunch of officers. Because the party is struggling, we don't have money, and we ask the political leader of that party and my executive committee ask those duly elected officers to resign. And my primary argument to them is because you don't have money. We need people with money, power, and influence to come and take over the position.
Well, primarily it may not just be tied to money. That could be one of the factors.
No, you just mentioned that.
Yeah, that
we need people.
That is one of the factors.
Now, one of the factors.
Yes.
Now, so if I'm
in the spirit.
No, come on. If I'm reading the history of the Liberty Party and I saw that rating somewhere that the executive committee once in the past asked elected officers to resign.
No. don't present this thing as if to say it was a mandate that you must resign. You either resign or you be.
You did it calmly.
Calmly. Okay. It was characterized by dialogue and constructive engagement.
I see that as a very troubling.
So much so that people who decided to stay on were allowed to stay on.
I'm being a little bit critical. That an executive committee will muster the guts and the courage, and with a mere justification that you don't have money.
You call that mere justification? That's not. I'm saying that's one of the reasons. And let me tell you, it will interest you to know that even people, even some of the guys who resign.
You understand that I know what a political party is. It comes with a lot of things. But when people are entrusted with authority based on convention, they believe to people.
Certainly.
So the party must derive strategy to get money. But I should not ask, in my mind, the Liberty Party decision that you agree having, ask elected officers to resign because they didn't have money.
Well,
that to me, it's a dent.
I have said, I don't want us to dwell this entire argument around this little issue. That decision, I'm coming now, man. Let me respond to that. That decision emanated from even people who were serving in those positions.
They themselves.
Of course.
So they came to the Liberty Party, they were looking at we get money. They asked us to resign peacefully.
Continue in the interest of the party for the sake of continuity. Some of them said, we have just come from elections and the party needs to go on.
If you don't have money, you cannot serve in senior position of the Liberty Party.
But I don't have money. I'm using myself as an example.
So you deceiving the children. So if you have business of money, nobody not have money, why they asking that time to resign and you don't have money, you serve now?
Oh yes, because like I told you, Mama, I have not defeated, I have never contradicted any theory. Let me clarify that. I told you
I see a contradiction.
No contradiction. No. It was optional. And that decision.
Your Liberty Party at the time, okay, you are at the district level.
Yeah.
Those who were managing the party at the time believe that if you don't have money, you cannot stay in that.
No.
Okay, because those who were there,
they said we don't have the capacity financially to steer the affairs of the party. So it is better that we muster the courage to step aside. And people among the executive committee members who derive that ideology decided to share that.
That is one of the most absurd things I've ever heard.
No, you can say that. You can say that. Look, all this argument is trying to tie around. I'm coming. It's geared towards substantiating Mr. Jackson's claim that somebody was dictating to somebody was dictating to the activities of the party. That's not true. Liberty Party, if there's any political party in this country,
if
there's any political party in this country that has upheld the good tenets of democracy, it has to be the Liberty Party. It has to be the Liberty Party.
Let them move forward. Jackson has a contention. Okay. Your Secretary General calling. Let me give him the opportunity. Perhaps you want to correct or disagree with something.
He can go ahead.
And I was something. As a Jackson, I will not take your call now. So let me talk to Liberty Party Secretary General, Big Brother Jacob Smith. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody.
I know you want to correct something.
I'm saying here that you are invoking democratic theory with respect to people resigning after election. Do you know that in most democracies, whenever you go to election, the party goes to election, and you don't win? Is it after that happening in the democracy that people get to see the wisdom to resign? Even after the process, after that election, he has to step down. He has to resign. So the process is...
No, I said, Mr. Smith, the point, I don't have a feeling on this. The point I am troubled, the point that really troubles me is that the issue that has to do with lack of capacity financial-wise. That is what to me resembles something that is unacceptable. Maybe ignorantly coming with that position, but to ask an elected officer, please resign because you get money, then you want to place money as a basis for representation and service. You see, it would have been better if you are here with Asset Jackson, so we can engage.
Our SG coming with Asset Jackson.
Okay. Okay. Okay, Mr. Jacob. Mr. Smith.
Certainly, I mean, that's it.
Yeah, I agree.
That's it.
Okay. That's.
No, that was not the case.
Yeah, you see, you said people voluntarily resign, but this, from the way Toomay explained it, he did not present it as being people voluntarily resign. He said the executive committee reached the decision
among themselves, members of the executive committee,
Okay, I concede. You know, I'm playing the devil advocate. This is what I do when I do it.
Yes, I'm still.
Alright, thank you very much. Makata Ware is here, so let's listen to him. He's one of the person. So I think that
was mentioned by.
Okay, so
Mr.
Ware.
Good morning, Monday.
Yeah, good morning, sir. You been listening to the show.
Yes, I monitored the show.
Okay, go ahead.
I told that Jackson made mention of my name yesterday, and I'm listening to Toomay in the studio making some comments. Mamadi, since 2005, I haven't spoken on Liberty issue until this day. And I wouldn't want to go into the merits and demerits, but let me just say a few things. Firstly, let me say that I do not know who are those individuals that Clark spoke with when he said he spoke with some of those who were victimized by the residential call by Councilor Bromsky. But I was a national vice chairman for mobilization and operations for the Liberty Party in the 2005 elections. Unfortunately, the party didn't win. When we all expected that at the end of the elections, the standard bearer at the time, Councilor Bromsky, would call members of the hierarchy of the party to tell us thank you for all that we have done and for us to equally say thank you, Chief. Unfortunately, a meeting was called. But before I go further, let me say prior to the Liberty Party, I served as regional coordinator for the Friends of Bromsky. I was responsible for RTD, Riverfest, and Grand Bassa County. That is to the extent to which I served at the institution. Councilor Bromsky called this meeting on this day when we all thought that we were going to chart the course of Liberty Party. Councilor Bromsky called this meeting to say, gentlemen, I've called you guys for you to resign.
Just like that.
Just like that.
Okay, was there an executive committee meeting where you, members of the executive committee, agreed by themselves that they were resigned?
Absolutely not. Period.
Were you one of the insiders, the men who know what was really happening in the party? Were you part of the real action?
Oh yes, I was one of Councilor Bromsky's kitchen cabinet members.
Okay.
I was as close to Councilor Bromsky as anybody. I know everything that happened.
Okay, so did you resign? Did you resign based on his recommendation or his instruction or mandate, if you call it?
I actually resigned, but if you give me less than 3 minutes, let me just say how I resigned, please.
Okay, go ahead. Very brief.
Thank you. Very brief. At that meeting, when we were asked to resign, we asked Councilor Bromsky, I personally asked Councilor Bromsky, Councilor, why are we resigning? And I was ordered by Nathaniel Toll. Councilor, why are we resigning? We were duly elected. Councilor Bromsky gave 2 basic reasons. One, Councilor Bromsky said, you guys do not have the resources and the money to run an opposition party. Opposition party running requires funding, and you guys don't have the money.
taking a lot of the time.
Okay.
No meeting was held. No meeting was held.
No. Final question. Isaac Jackson has referred to Mr. Councillor Bronskin as a tyrant. What do you know about him when it's come to his disposition as a political party leader?
Let me say this. I believe you me from the bottom of my heart that this Councillor Bronskin is a very kind man. I must say this. Councillor Bronskin, I regret the decision that was taken as such. It was from the pressure of a non-victory that we attained, probably that played on him to take up that position. But Councillor Bronskin, as a person, is kind. He was very kind to me. He took me as his son. I personally benefited from Councillor Bronskin. Let me just say this personally. I'm sorry for saying this.
Go ahead.
The television set in my home today. The television set in my home today. I bought that television set from
Asking whether you're going to ask a person for your
He's very kind, but that decision, I knew that it was wanted the party. But I understand that Councillor Bronskin has regretted that decision. That decision will continue to haunt the party.
Which decision?
The decision for Councillor Bronskin to ask legitimate elected officers of the party to resign. That decision, I think it was unfair, and I know Councillor Bronskin has regretted that. And I think that all that has to do is for the party to tell us sorry, those of us who were coerced and asked to resign against the party decision in Ghana at the primary. I think this party is a great party. I believe that, and it has potential. What it has to do is to just simply tell those who they have offended sorry, and those who have offended the party to say sorry.
Okay.
The party champions on and get ready for future intervention.
Okay, now you chose not to answer the question. But well, thank you very much. And
Which question, Mamadi? Which question? I'll pretend.
Isaac Jackson said he was a tyrant. I wanted to know what would you
No, but he responded. He said Bronskin is a kind man. He answered the question. He responded.
Because okay, no, he said
Bronskin is a different man, except that decision that he took, I think they have disturbed the party and the party.
And the reason we give you that time because your name has been mentioned by two of the and the discussant, including.
Indeed, when you talk about Liberty Party from the FOP to the party, this is a McCarthy where name is written in there.
Okay, thank you. Platumel.
Okay, I think Mr. Ware is one of those persons that Isaac Jackson made reference to yesterday as his reliance to substantiate his claims against Councillor Bronskin, and you can see what the man has said. Allegations that Councillor Bronskin is a tyrant. I'm coming to that. We'll do it one at a time. The most interesting one, the most important.
The tyrant issue.
Yes, that has been suspicion in the school, and he also acknowledged that Councillor Bronskin is a kind man, and Councillor Bronskin impacted his life.
And
how possible? Let's do it one at a time. How possible could it have been for people like McCarthy to have benefited from Councillor Bronskin and then Isaac Jackson did not benefit? Can you see there's a broad day, blatant lie coming from the back? Isaac Jackson is the reincarnate of Lucifer's.
No, at least he
he's a rebirth of Lucifer's on earth.
Yeah,
he's a blatant liar.
Disagree. He has categorically dispelled that notion that the councillor is a
tyrant. Someone you spoke to last night.
I wouldn't mention their names because even the guy who almost broke the armchair on Isaac Jackson's head when Isaac Jackson said we should have endorsed the CDC, the man is still around, but because of the professional duties, I can't mention his name.
Don't worry.
I can't mention his name.
The whole industry will be because we want to place people, the comments you made, we want to play the public glance so we know who's saying the truth and then who's saying the truth and who's lying. 077469794
077469793 is the line to call.
So you want to start? At least take 4 calls, then I will do this.
Yeah, let me do this. Good morning.
Okay. Except you're not following the show.
Good morning. Good morning, you're live.
Good morning. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Frank. Good morning.
Clarify the last.
The Secretary General. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Well, he's here as representative of the Liberty Party. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me this morning. So, I'm new here this morning. I think one after rest and I just one after rest yesterday.
How's it, Jackson? How's it, Jackson?
How's it, Jackson? Sorry. Yesterday. I followed this process around 2003. It was on a history February 9 when Trump came in as triumphant entrant of a provision. After Jackson was on a power for that day, I still able to get what that really does. And he was so passionate about his freedom of expression on the prospect of the university campus. He managed to have more than close to 1,000 students that welcome Trump in front of the executive nation. There was a live radio conference of that movement that day. So you see how passionate and how they give the Alan Jackson about and leading this process. I mean, coming from Laka.
Yeah. That's a warning. Warning coming from you. Thank you. Good morning.
Yes, sir.
Very quick.
Vanga.
Thank you. Okay, thank you very much.
Good morning, hello, and good morning, Mr. Toomay. This is Larry Brockler. And I called because I've been following this debate, not just today, but several weeks ago, several months ago. And it bothers me that someone like Isaac Jackson, who I have a lot of respect for, who's also a lawyer, and has been a loyal follower of Councilor Bromsky and the Liberty Party, will choose to use the airwaves to say the
You mean you talking physically to the president? But was Isaac Jackson in the know of that recommendation? Did you discuss it with him?
Absolutely. Isaac Jackson had a show on Veritas where he condemned the government and president. He condemned at the time the late managing director of the NPA, calling him a decrepit old man. And of course, I did my job as the Minister of Information. I gave him a lift to LU, and that very day I called him and I said, I want to recommend that you become an assistant minister.
Okay. Yeah, no problem. But the problem, just stay on. I think you will bring it to the point that we have to listen to Isaac Jackson and the major you mentioned. Good morning.
Good morning.
My interest, Dr. Brobler is...
He will respond to the substantive issue. You know that Isaac Jackson is disruptive. He's not going to respond to the substantive issue, but let him stick to the issue.
Let
him stick to the issue.
Wait. Yeah, listen, I said, Dr. Brobler is saying that he brought you in government.
Look at that. Is that an issue in this country?
He's talking personally to the president.
But the man's a liar. Isaac Jackson is look, the man is an ingrate. He was born an ingrate. You don't expect anything for him. The man's a blatant liar. Don't see the lies he tell you this morning. The same Isaac Jackson who said Maurice Toomay wanted to soil Martin. That's the same Isaac Jackson. He said the man wanted to soil Martin for job. That's the same Isaac Jackson.
Thank you. Yeah, go ahead.
So they told you abusing people, you hear that?
My interest is how can Dr. Brobler will take you personally to the president and you refuse to recognize that? That's the point that's a little bit wow. Dr. Brobler. Yeah.
It's like you take interest in the invectives that Isaac Jackson raised on people. Because he's not speaking on the issue. You have the man with public radio and insulting people.
Isaac Jackson, Dr. Brobler,
you can't have Isaac Jackson from mutilated character. But the man is insulting. The man is using invectives. Isaac Jackson is insulting. You listen to him and you keep him on.
Dr. Brobler, go ahead. Isaac, I'm pressing your button. Go ahead.
I was the Minister of Information. I had the
you.
This is what we must do for Liberia, and I will continue to do it. I
Thank
will
you.
not relegate myself to the low level of trying to get on air and castigate and name call people.
Thank you.
Mr. Jackson has good characteristics. I think he should just be grateful. It is one of the best characteristics that any Liberian can distribute.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, Mama D, having listened to all of the discussion between Asset Jackson and Dr. Brooke, you can easily conclude that Asset Jackson's problem is fundamentally tied to his upbringing. That he will come on the public radio and insult people. His zeal to be heard does not commensurate with his wisdom. And so you know zeal without wisdom is destruction. So Asset Jackson is heading for self-destruction. That is why he continues to create a huge integrity problem for himself that will haunt him even after the end of this regime.
Okay, let me squeeze in my colleague. Okay, I think he's off. Alright, I think we have...
Because
the interest here is getting so high.
All of the issues that Asset Jackson raised have been nullified, not just by Toomay. McCarthy were called and told you that indeed that decision was not imposed on the people who resigned at the time. They were given an option. He also told you that
an option.
No, he said people who
said
no. This is what he said.
Asked for the resignation.
And people who did not want to resign, what happened to them? Were they expelled?
No, he resigned. He resigned.
Yes. Did he say people who did not want to resign were expelled? No, they were not expelled. They were allowed to go on. So how does that amount to tyranny? How does that? You said to Toomay, please resign. I said no. He said okay, but then Toomay go on. How does that amount to tyranny? How does that? What's the correlation?
Where said he believed that Councillor Bronsky?
It's a kind man.
It's a kind
man.
He believed Councillor Bronsky by now should have regretted that single action about
like Dr. Brooke said, people make mistakes. But I am telling you that that decision emanated from members of the executive committee who felt that after the election there was a name, he did not dispute it.
No, he said
he didn't respond to that. You didn't ask him about that.
He said
he didn't ask him about that.
Okay.
He didn't ask him about that.
At least people listening to
okay. So for the Irish Liberty partisan,
we have your time. I think.
Well, you gave it's like this. The time today was equally allotted between Asset Jackson or Dr. Brooke McCarthy and myself. So I mean, Asset Jackson had more than an hour yesterday, and today you have my time allotted equally. I mean, I don't think it's fair. No, but let me react. Is that not true, Mamadi? Is that not true? My time allotted fairly across the board.
No.
Let me react. Okay. Even if you're not given an hour, he had enough time compared to my time today. Let's be realistic. Mr. Well, very realistic. Very brief, we're about to go.
Yeah, I'm still monitoring the show. In as much as I share some of the good things about Councillor Bronsky, I want to admonish my junior brother not to misunderstand me. It was not an option. It was a correct statement pulled down to us that we must resign. That was it.
You haven't said anything different.
Different.
Those who did not step down, were they dismissed? No. Those who did not resign, were they dismissed? Were they dismissed? The UVR at the time did not resign. The Secretary General did not resign. Give me a chance. Told did not resign, and Thomas did not resign. Were they expelled? They were never expelled. How does that?
Go ahead.
Let me provide this. As I said earlier, you need to help the party by not infusing more complications in this matter.
That I haven't done.
Okay, Mr. Well, thank you very much for at least that intervention. Gentlemen, we have to go. I'm sorry, we have to go.
Okay, thank you. In conclusion, I appreciate the little time I was afforded me today.
No, the no time.
The little time.
No time.
No, it was my time was allotted to call us to Asset Jackson that the Brooklyn and McCarthy way. He called again. But the problem is that for the Irish Liberty partisan, Asset Jackson is a name in oblivion. We only come to respond to this statement when we feel that it is meant to hurt the image of our former political leader, and then if we don't respond, it looks like we are validating his statement. But we're not troubled by Asset Jackson's attitude. Like I said, it's fundamentally tied to his upbringing. He has insulted his president right on the radio. He has narrated diabolical lies. Somebody is calling to acknowledge that indeed he was assisted by Councillor Bronsky.
Thank you. To be frank, I respect you. I respect you for coming, and thank you very much for responding.
Okay, thank you. I hope next time we'll be given sufficient time to do our presentation. And if this debate continues, let me say to Asset Jackson, his arrogance has reached a point of diminishing marginal returns. We will not relent.
Bravo. Thank you very much. We're taking a break. We'll be right back.